There we are. We are live. Another episode of TigerBait Live. Decided to go late for as far as us Thursday night instead of a Tuesday or a Wednesday night because as soon as we got word early in the week that we were indeed going to get Brian Kelly finally to talk about his staff and recruiting and everything else, we said, you know what, let's go ahead and put it Thursday night. Of course, we also made it so we were available to avoid LSU baseball and basketball. Women, of course, are playing right now, up big at halftime. But Brian Kelly rolled out his defensive staff yesterday and his offensive staff earlier today, and it was a great day. But you need to hit the let me see.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, good to see everybody. I don't like seeing myself because, it's obviously not a pretty sight. Here it is, churning towards the end of February. Mike, we talked about this the last month or two. And, I heard a guy say, Buddy needs a couple weeks off. No, maybe I said that. So, come on, man. I had to recharge the batteries. Now we're fired up. You should be fired up. We talk in terms of nadir, the bottom. I think it is safe to say, now that we've heard Coach Kelly and his staff, and just to start to see some of the strokes of painting the new LSU picture, I think the bottom has been reached. I think now it is time to build up. And the question is, how quickly will that happen? To what extent will it happen in a year or two or three? And how much fun that ride is going to be. But I got to tell you, on this Thursday night, and we'll give you updates with Coach Mulkey, what an incredible job she's done. No doubt about it, the SEC Women's Coach of the Year. More than likely the National Coach of the Year if things fall right.
The interim coach of Florida is in that thing.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. It's a good point. But Kemp's had an incredible year. But that all being said, man, it is great to be a Tiger fan and look forward to. But I've been very impressed with Coach Kelly and his assistants. And there's some tidbits. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to chide anybody in the media, but there were a couple times he tried to lighten up the crowd, and you were in that crowd. I don't know. Did you get the joke?
Well, I tell you what.
Did you get his two jokes? He had two jokes. No, nobody caught him.
When he rolled in today, I really thought he was mad.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's feeling out each other. He made a joke about parking, so I had to call Jacques. I had to call Jacques and say, did you park in Brian Kelly's spot to welcome him to Baton Rouge? We know that was the Saban story that we've regurgitated.
But you know what it shows me about him? He's got a very dry, self-deprecating sense of humor.
And nobody understands it and realizes it.
Which I love. So I think he's got a great sense of humor. I think behind the scenes, when he's not worried about being politically correct, I think he's off the chain funny. I really believe that.
Well, the second joke, and I can almost remember it to the day and to the word, Nick Saban was I don't know if it was year one or two, and he's going like, well, if it's a great play call, I called it, and if it's a bad call, Jimbo called it. Well, Brian Kelly said basically the same thing, and nobody got your joke. By the way, I'm going to be the guy calling all the great play calls. I'm laughing when I'm watching it. Of course, I was live or getting ready to 12-1. I had to start the show at 1, so I saw it after the show. But look, this is going to be fun to see the relationship building and him getting acclimated to people down here and what everybody wants to hear about and talk about versus, I love Coach Kane talking about traffic. Man, 6 miles away, takes you 25 minutes, and everybody's saying, welcome to Baton Rouge and all. It's really interesting, though, to see them rebuilding LSU. And this is a rebuild, not a reload. We know that if you saw the bowl game. But, gosh, Mike, there are so many.
And I don't think people mind the rebuild, buddy.
No. It's going to be fun.
As long as you see competence and you see what they're building and you see effort and you see a steady build, I think people are on board. And so I think what excited me the last 2 days is, first of all, I realized how long it's been since we had assistant coaches. It's probably been, 3 years? I mean, we got them, down in New Orleans because, you got coordinators and Joe Brady, and they were all available to talk then. But there's been no fan day. Of course, COVID was part of that.
Right.
And now with the NCAA rules, if you set aside a fan day, that actually counts as a practice So that's why they've avoided having true fan days. But now at NIL, how's fan day going to come about? That's going to be sponsored. And so now corporations can get involved. And we were talking about that early on. I mean, any car dealer can set up a fan day on a Sunday afternoon and have every football player lined up and then make money. It's just so. I was hoping the only thing I wish we would have got was a strength coach. I asked Michael Bonnet yesterday, could he get him? And he said we might get him at another event. So maybe this is something good. But
well, let's get through a lot of the interaction because I know they miss talking to us for a couple of weeks. But, man, I got a couple tidbits that I picked up. And if you're over 50, and unfortunately you and I are in that group, old school, smash mouth, tough ass football at the line of scrimmage is coming back. And Denbrock said it. We're going to run it when they know we're going to run it. The days of LSU being overweight and out of shape and soft are over. The question to me is, can you get it done by September in his first year, or is it going to take a good year and a half to build up the strength and the like Coach Kelly was talking about, what he wants to see in the physicality of players he recruits going forward?
Guys, as always, show brought to you by the official roofing company of TigerBait.com, Pride Roofing. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez done a fantastic job. We're going to talk about them a little bit more later in the show, but of course, just want to say we're here every week because of them making it possible. And so, if you're enjoying the show, please hit the like button. Please share to your social media accounts. And if you're on our YouTube channel, hit the subscription button, the notification bell. If you notice, we've been loading content up every single day. Sometimes 3-4 videos a day or more, and that's only going to get more because we're super busy with spring covering multiple sports now that baseball's uncorked, and so we're running busy. And now we're not far away from spring football practice starting up. We're going to see what our access is going to be for that. I've heard conflicting things. Reached back out to the guys over at Irish Sports Daily to see what they got. They got 5 practices. 20 minutes each practice, and then 2 full practices. So that's actually not bad.
Did he dance when he was at Notre Dame?
No.
Okay. He's in Baton Rouge, no telling what the culture
Well, I kidded Bonnet, and I said, Michael, are you gonna let him know, like, well, Coach, for the last 20 years and 3 coaches, we've done it this way. I don't.
No.
And he laughed because he's like, no, full well saying, no, we don't tell Coach Kelly. But I do think he probably is going to alter some things.
Yeah.
And look, he's got Frank Wilson in his ear too. Frank Wilson's been here before. So, but whatever look, if they give us 5 and 2 full, if that's what we get, that's not bad. I mean, and then you get a spring game. So, and then we'll have practice reports, photo galleries, video, and all that. Whatever we can get out of it. But I thought. Some really great personalities amongst all the coaches. I joked with Coach Hankton today. I said, well, you didn't look to me like you've been missing any arm days in the gym. I mean, he's stacked. His arms are ripped, and he laughed at that. But I did ask him, you and Frank both from New Orleans, and are y'all going to split it? How y'all going to? And he said, man, there's going to be some days where we actually go to high schools together, he thought.
How cool is that?
And so that's awesome. And Joe Sloan today, of course, one of the things they did a very good job at Louisiana Tech, and he was a part of it. And I saw Coach Sloan at every LSU camp. And that's another little tidbit I got today. Coach Kelly is going to maintain what Ed Orgeron instituted, which I thought was great, that all the other state schools are going to be able to come to camp.
Yeah, cool.
So, but Coach Sloan was very adept at locating those tweener kids that didn't quite get an LSU offer. I was told a statistic last night that did you know in the last 10 years, and this is pulling out Alabama signees from Louisiana, there's over 100 kids that didn't get offered by LSU that played in the NFL in the last decade.
Well, that's 10 a year.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
And so, but that is a tricky deal, because it's like they want to go bigger in Louisiana. But like when you're in a scenario like this with 85 and you're needing immediate help, those schools that those kids ended up at were able to develop those kids over multiple years. Whereas LSU in a lot of these positions are in a scenario where they must have guys who are ready now or not far from it. And because I know that was something that Coach, Grimes and them, who was the last offensive line coach that got before Coach Davis got here? Got cut. I know that was one of the deals there where there was some guys that he liked that he thought he could develop, but they just couldn't take them because they needed immediate help.
I'm having one of those Alzheimer moments. So, look, bottom line is this, Mike. There is a big Louisiana taste in the gumbo pot, and I'm going to expound on that with assistance, with familiarity with this state, and obviously with recruiting, getting the Fouchés and the Brooks and all the guys that didn't sign with LSU. Louisiana, I think this staff realizes, why not get everybody from Louisiana and then supplant the rest of the team and the staff with outlying areas, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, obviously Florida.
Yeah.
But Louisiana, man, you forget. You just mentioned it. 100 players in 10 years didn't go to LSU that played at the NFL level. Look at all the people coming back that had ties to LSU.
Yeah.
Look at the coaching staff. That's going to be great to see Hankton and Frank as they tandem. They are going to put a fence around this place.
Blake Raffine with Are You Serious says, what's up, everybody? Glad to have you with us, Blake. Blake had a great show earlier today with Mike Jones. Of course, they got an NIL deal with the linebacker super kid.
Who?
Yep. And you know what I like about him? I've seen him at live music venues. That tells me all I need to know about him. He likes live music. So that's a little thing I like about Mike Jones. Sean Carpenter, praying for you, Crane. Yes, we are. Michael Sutherland says, buddy, I think you are very pretty.
Please. I will put my sunglasses on just so I won't have to see.
Bart says for me to get closer to the mic. Okay. Do I sound better now, guys? Let me know.
Hey, appreciate Bart and what he brings to LSU and you and everybody around this state with his business interest and doing the show and all that. He's a hell of a guy. I know you appreciate him.
1 second.
Oh, okay. I got to fill a little time. Imagine that.
Go ahead.
By the way, folks, LSU played one of their better halves last night against Kentucky, 31-23. Unfortunate. Wasn't able to finish it. They will be back against Missouri Saturday night at 7:30. 3 more SEC conference games left, and then the SEC tournament. And baseball this weekend. Towson Friday night, Southern Saturday, and then Sunday they'll play both teams, Towson at noon and Southern at 5. Jay Johnson talking this week. So we've got men's and women's basketball. We have, of course, Jay Johnson with the debut of baseball. And let me tell you what, when you give the ball to a lefty from Arizona and it's 36 degrees, I'm not expecting great results, Mike.
Reed Wilson, bro, this is probably the greatest staff outside of the Miami Hurricanes, but I think LSU may be better.
Too early to know how good they were going to be, but here's what I take from the last couple of days. You ready, Mike? Brian Kelly is the CEO. He is going to let his coaches coach and develop. And I really believe we kind of talked about this when you and Charlie Hannegriff and others were saying, where's the PC, where's the presser? It takes time, and now they are this is a work in progress. And the coaches said that today. But, man, when you just take the interviews at these assistants, they were all very similar. Man, I love me some Jamar Cain. You hear me? LSU is going to kick ass moving forward, recruiting at the D-line. There are going to be multiple offense. The thing that I've gotten is that if you're waiting for Joe Burrow and 5 and empty and 5 wides and 48 points a game and 400 yards passing the game, this is not going to be your cup of tea. You're going back to being balanced and running the football and being tough and hard-nosed, a lot of discipline on and off the field, high-character guys, go to school, not going to have to worry about all those suspensions and all that crazy behavior. I still think it's going to probably be a year and a half before Brian Kelly gets the makeup of what he wants, but I expect to.
Guys, can you hear my mic? Let me know down in the comments, will you? Let me know how if you hear me good right now. I think one of them. Keep talking, buddy.
Yeah, and this is the thing about technical difficulties. We've all had it. Mike is on the spot here. It reminds me of a story that's happened a couple times this year, and the net has broken
I think
at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. And the first time it happened, I'm not lying. Now it's not the old days when you put a net up there and you string it up, and it would be 5 seconds. It's got some different thing. And so the first time it happened, remember, it took like 5 minutes for the guy to get it. And the second time it happened, he was much better. So
everybody says I'm loud and clear now. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, guys.
Let me scroll up real quick and get some more of your questions, and then we're going to hear from Mike and Alex at Pride Roofing. Reed Wilson, for years people laughed at me when I said the difference between LSU and Bama was coaching, and I would tell them, watch how good they would be if they got one. Well, we do now in a disciplinarian too. Buddy, have you gotten to play golf with BK yet, says Dylan.
No, I have not met Coach Kelly yet, but I will say this. I did get his second joke today when he said every great play call is going to be his. Man, I was fired up with listening to both coordinators, and I think Mike Denbrock. I asked this question. Look, we had Nick Saban, and everybody points to Brian Kelly coming here at 60. Nick Saban came here at 49. The difference is, of course, Brian Kelly came here to win a national championship. Nick Saban won one and has proceeded to win 6 more. But when you sit there, I really think you can tell the way he's shaping it, molding it, talking about what he looks for in an offensive lineman, what they're going to do on offense, run, toughness, discipline, all those other things. But, Mike, here's the question. When is the light going to go on for everybody? I'm talking about everybody, analysts, everybody, to say this is what we have to do in the SEC to A, be competitive in the SEC West, B, beat Bama and get to Atlanta and win the SEC championship, and then the third step is the national championship. That's why Brian Kelly came here. That's why these other coaches are here. They came here to win the NC. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's work in progress. It's going to be a hell of a ride, and I appreciate you being on the ride with me as well. Radio
and likewise.
Many years, Mike.
Exactly. I tell you, one thing I am convinced today after these interviews is one thing I've been saying for weeks, months, is that we knew about the 25 plus 7, 4 spots left. What were the positions? And I think that to break down the 4, I think this is what it's going to be. I think center, corner, tight end, quarterback. I think that's going to be your 4. I'm convinced now more than ever. Mike Denbrock, on the record with media around, and his body language and the way he worded it, I'm convinced they're going to take a quarterback.
Well, look, they're trying to get better at every position. And with the volatility of LSU quarterbacks, I mean, look what happened.
Well, but people are getting mad at me for saying that every week. And I just think look, they're going to go through spring, and see how it plays out. But we still, Miles Brennan is an unknown. And I think Nussmeier's made some gains. Walker Howard, of course, is rehabilitating the thumb that he had surgery on, 3 weeks now? But yeah, and when I talked to Coach Sloan today and Coach Denbrock, they both said similar things about Walker Howard. That it's the same thing when he was at St. Thomas More. If any of the guys that are subscribers that are STM folks and Lafayette people, if you've ever been around that kid, everybody gravitates towards him. He's been like that since he was a 9th grader. Older kids, upperclassmen, it doesn't matter. And I'm told the same thing is happening in the facility right now. And so, little other tidbit I was told is that, they're testing them now. I don't know what the setup is, but, you do 40 times shuttle, but they're testing them in miles per hour.
Yeah.
And I'm told that Walker's hitting almost 22 miles an hour.
Wow.
running.
Because I know Leonard Fournette ran 23 something, and that was like a blur.
22 miles an hour.
Well, look, bottom line is that there's 4 spots left. I think we've seen, and he was asked a question about the 13 incoming versus the transfer portal guys. And I think there's a method to the madness, and I think that they're going to be patient. But if they can grab a guy at a need spot, now Brad Davis did say there were 6 guys. Marlon Martinez, to me, I think would be the favorite in Las Vegas. He's got a chance. And some other guys that have played there, Charles Turner and others. But, man, when you start talking about every position that you've got to get some depth at, no disrespect to Miles Brennan or Garrett Nussmeier or Walker Howard, they don't have any real skins on the wall. So if there's another guy that fits after spring or whatever, you bring him in. You're trying to win this year. I love this quote. You don't put training wheels on at LSU. This is the big time. The people don't want to hear. You remember when Lou Tepper famously said to this fan base, it might take 2 or 3 years for my defense to be understood.
Well, Randa said something kind of similar.
Well, I hold a lot.
But Randall's was ready to go really in year one. But they got better over time. But they were good out the chute.
You listen to these coaches. There's no training wheels, folks. These are professionals. They're going to come in and do it. How quickly will they be able to get the kind of team and character and culture in that locker room they want is certainly not determined by anybody right now. But, man, I am looking forward to spring ball, and I hope that you and I will have a chance to have some reports afterwards as we try to be the eyes and the ears if they give us some availability, Mike.
Yeah, I think that I think we're going to get some. I think I think he's going to alter some of the things that he did at Notre Dame. I think he's already altered himself from what he did at Notre Dame. Just the dance and stuff and everything else we're seeing. Talking to the guys that covered him in South Bend, they're like, we don't know who that guy is.
Yeah,
and it's because he's freed up.
Sure,
he's not under the Golden Dome and all that buttoned up. He can let it ride down here. And
Louisiana, man,
they're all fired up next week because they're off and they're all going to be going to Mardi Gras. And so I think, but then after next week that they're going to be getting after it.
And Keishon Butte will be at the parade saying, "Throw me something, mister." Really hope that young man can be successful and stay healthy because he's so much fun to watch. And you hated to see his year get ended so early. But look, this is his money year. Now, Gordon has done a fantastic job with NIL and all those players, women, men, everybody, all the teams. But Keishon Butte, I am so happy that they were able to salvage him because that would have been the icing on the top that I don't think anybody could have stood. And, oh, by the way, Eli is coming. That is going to be fun to see. Eli Ricks tell Nick, I want Butte, and then Butte does this, and then does the gritty after catching the touchdown pass on Eli Ricks. You heard it here first.
All right. Let's, like I said.
You do the gritty?
I will embarrass myself. My gritty looks like Kim Mulkey's.
Okay.
All right, let's hear from our good friends at Proud Roofing, Mike and Alex.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
There you go, Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. As always, if you're anywhere in South Louisiana, Gulf Coast, Mississippi, southern parts of Mississippi, Lafayette, all the way to Southwest Louisiana, call Pride Roofing, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and once you do that, they're going to pay for you to have free TigerBait premium for 1 year. And a lot of you have jumped on that deal. Talked to one of my subscribers a couple of days ago, just got a new roof put on his mama's house in Villa Del Rey, and they are absolutely happy with the way it turned out. Everything that was promised turned out to be on the deal, and I can't ride on the roads around Baton Rouge without seeing a Pride roofing truck somewhere these days. So they're growing by leaps and bounds. Of course, based in Albany, a yard full of shingles. You're not waiting around for 2 months for the roofing company to order the shingles for you. They're not using anything builder grade. They make all their own flashing in-house, and they're the best of the best. Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16.
You know, it's interesting when you have that in your name of your business. You know that's kind of telling people we really do take great pride. Not only do they do all those services, the residential, the commercial, the metal. We just bought Crown Metals, which is going to totally change the landscape. We got all kinds of other companies now wanting to do business with us because of that acquisition. But I talk about the people aspect of it. They are professionals. They're on time. They get there. They do the work. PFM and many other people is just incredibly amazed at the integrity. Sometimes you got to crunch the numbers. They will get down and make it happen for you. You obviously have great relationships and a lot of people. We've sent some people over there. Every person that we've sent over there, to my knowledge, happy with the experience and liking the experience. And let's be honest, not only do you want to get the best service and the best product and the best deal, but you want to do business with people you like and respect. And I think that all of us give Mike and his family our deepest regards and respect for losing their mom a week or so ago. So may she rest in peace. But seriously, folks, if you do business with these people, you are going to be very impressed. And much like Brian Kelly and LSU moving forward, they live up to that name, Pride Roofing.
No doubt about it. Back to the last 2 days. I've had several people say, well, who impressed you the most? And they've all been impressive. And I'll say this, too. I think Frank Wilson, now that he's come back after 2 head coaching stints, I think he's in a better place. I think he's enjoying being on this staff with Brian Kelly and all these new faces. I think it's reinvigorated him. I'm real. Look, I'm. What do you call it? Bullish. I just think the sky's the limit. I really do. I think they're going to have a huge junior day on March 5th. I joked with back to Walker Howard. I was at the end when we were breaking out. I had Joe Sloan and Mike Denbrock, and I said, yeah, I know Walker's probably chomping at the bit, you know, and he's one of those kids that if he's not lifting, he's probably losing weight. And so Denbrock says, oh, is that what needs to happen? Then I'm going to quit lifting.
Well, look, those guys are going to understand and realize that, A, LSU football is like a religion. B, if you shop at Trader Joe's or Albertsons or wherever you go, Bruce, Chris, you've seen some people there. Wherever you go around town, how cool is Brian Polian with his stories about? Yeah, people told me about the.
Well, I gave him the recommendation yesterday, and everybody around the table. I said, Coach, after I got my interview, dude, I got so much stuff to transcribe. We had breakout interviews, and so. There's the videos you've seen on video that everybody got, TV stations, ourselves, but there was, we had a lot of sessions around round tables, and I've got a lot of typing to do the next 2 days. Good stuff from almost every coach on the staff. But yeah, where was I going?
Well, we were just talking about all of the tidbits that we picked up at the press conferences, and
yeah,
and look when
Brad Davis.
Huh? Oh, yeah, Brad Davis. Look, all of them are very impressive. This is what I was going to say earlier. We talked about how we get all these guys back. That were at Arkansas, Brooks and Fouché and all the others, a couple players from Lafayette and other areas. But, man, look at you mentioned Joe Sloan. That's a guy that people know. That is a guy, Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan can go recruit North Louisiana, and he's in like Flynn. You talk about Hankton and Frank teaming up. I mean, look, we all know that Saban has come in here lately and taken what he's won. He's been the frickin' honey badger
Well, and they're but
college recruiting.
all the other coaches are going to test it though. They're
Well,
going to
I know that. But
they're going to see what they can do.
Is that I think this staff is going to be selling a different product that has been on the table for the student athlete. And I said student athlete, and I think once again, you didn't hear it mentioned now, but I really believe, Mike, they're going to make these kids become men who appreciate the academic side, appreciate the character side, and the more disciplined you are off the field, the more disciplined you are on the field. I do think we're going to have a culture change, and I think the LSU fan base is going to lap it up.
I think the parents and the recruits themselves are going to realize where things are going in a big, big way on March 5th. That junior day is going to be big. It absolutely is. Vitally important. But I think it's going to, when those parents and all those kids get on campus and they get to meet all these staff members, and look, every one of them have personalities. They're all, well-spoken. They can talk football. They all have good smiles. I mean, they know. A lot of the new faces, particularly, I think, at different positions, particularly positions of need. I think it's not just going to be what the junior day is going to have for in-state prospects. I think there's going to be a surprising big number of out-of-state kids that are able to come in on March 5th. And then they're going to keep bringing them in for spring football practices. But one thing that I think is a takeaway is that, because we saw it in December briefly with those visits, once they get in the room with Brian Kelly and now all these other assistant coaches, I think they're going to be on their way. And then the NIL stuff is a different matter. But the personality quotient of it and knowing that the program is now being run like a Rolex watch, that's going to be obvious as soon as everybody gets there on March 5th.
Couple tidbits that you missed it. Frank Wilson did verify that John Emery is eligible and good to go. Once again, another guy, Mike. Look, you got Butte and John Emery in money years. And one of the things that Coach Denbrock said as the OC today, we're going to play Smash Mouth. He didn't really come out and say it, but when he said he's going to run the damn ball when he wants to, even if the opponent knows you're going to run it, I kind of envisioned a little bit of the old days when you could line up. Now, I'm not wanting to see 25 toss back to the tailback, 25 reps of that, but I do think, what do you say, Mike? Get people, playmakers in space to make big plays and stretch the field. Talked about personnel, 10, 11, 12, 14. I mean, they're going to do the whole gamut. I don't think he's got the tight ends on the roster at this point to play. You're not going to see three big old tight ends like 6'6", 260 at Notre Dame, but you're going to see a team and a staff that evolves. They don't even know what they look like right now, but they're working their butts off. They've done it before. I'm really feeling good that Scott Woodward has hit another home run. We said it with Jay Johnson, and we know what's going to happen, already happening with Kim Mulkey. So I think this is another home run hire. How long it takes to come into fruition, that is not determined.
Reed Wilson, buddy, got to disagree with you. Nick hasn't come in and taken whatever he wanted. No, he hasn't. But when he pinpoints one, two a year, he still has some success. I mean, Devonta Smith, he got all three wide receivers last year. I acted like I was sick every week on Aaron Anderson. But the flip side of it, as far as that goes, the wide receiver spot is not a concern to me.
Well, no, but I didn't mean it literally.
Yeah.
When you come in and get 4 offensive high school, 3 wide receivers and a tight end, that's Tyrann Mathieu-like.
Yeah. I asked Denbrock, I said, you got 4 spots left. How much are you throwing an elbow for a tight end? And because he coaches tight ends.
Yeah.
And he said, I want all 4 of them. But like I said, I think it's quarterback, center, cornerback, and tight end.
Okay.
I think that might be the breakdown. You disagree? Maybe.
No. I agree. I just want to get to more.
Yeah, because then I asked Jamar Kane. I said, Coach, I said of all the coaches here, I said you with the defensive line, you're the only one that probably doesn't have the numbers problem that the other coaches have. And he looked at me and he laughed and he said, I always want more.
Yeah.
And
well, he knows he's got a stud in B.J. Ojolari and Ali Gay and Jaqueline Roy and Tank Gilrery, and we go on and on.
But the problem he's got, and then it dawned on me, for 23, unless there's they do spring eval and LSU camp in June. What numbers of defensive linemen in the state of Louisiana do you see for 23?
Yeah. Listen, I'm very impressed, and I had some people that I lean on in Oklahoma. This was a big, big loss to OU. They wanted to, of course, he was going to go with our boy that we thought was going to be the head coach over here, Lincoln Riley. But I think this is a real coup, and I think that Jamar Kane is a superstar. If you get him to stay at LSU 3 or 4 years, you'd be lucky. He's a superstar.
No doubt, no doubt. Buxton at Thibodeau is one that, of course, we've been following for a couple of years. I'm anxious to see what he looks like as he's gotten older and more mature and bigger. But, man,
remember when
I got to believe that there are some defensive linemen out there that we have not been talking about that are going to show up and that they're gonna go for. But he might have to go out of state for a couple.
You remember how many years ago was it? Remember that year or two when LSU, Ernie Badeau, remember going 20 years ago or whatever it was, we were sitting there. They could not for the life of them get them a defensive line and defensive tackle in here. No, I think that you're going to see some great ones back roaming on that front four and front three and multiple. But B.J. Ojolari, I'm going to say it right now since I'm making crazy predictions. Double-digit sacks next year, or actually this year, 2022. He will bust 10 and a half sacks.
Talk about LSU men's basketball.
Yeah.
Last night, of course, last Saturday's game, and Pinson comes back. He's a catalyst, but still the losses continue to roll, and the SEC record is not what it needs to be. And what's your projection for seeding, and what's postseason possible?
Well, I think the thing about this team is that there was fool's gold when it was 15-1, and they had with those 15 wins about 6 or 7 of those comeback victories where they played horrendous in the first half and just came back. Their defense was so good, stifling, and they came back and they win these games at the end. So you had some fool's gold, and dumbasses like myself would think they would win 11, 12 games in the conference, and now they can't even sniff that. Obviously, injuries deterred their momentum, but I don't get the sense that they're a great team. I get the sense that they're a really bunch of talented individuals. And like Pinson, we finally saw Xavier Pinson. That was the best half he's played as an LSU Tiger last night, and he gets 16 points. But Kentucky makes adjustments, and they could not comprehend enough. Now, they beat Kentucky over here and lost by 5, which is nothing to be ashamed of, but something's just not clicking with them. Missed a late shot. Carolina, they gave that one away. And so I think that Coach Wade is going to get them in a tournament, and I think that he's just going to hope that they can flip the switch and peak at the right time, because right now they are very unpredictable, and at times they're not fun to watch when they struggle.
Well, they've only got little segments of each game where they're actually fun to watch. Yeah. The rest of the time, they're aggravating.
I mean, I know the W, and this is what Brian Kelly said today. He said, I don't care about the stats. I don't care about how it looks. Just worry about winning. And I know Coach Wade. So my prediction is that they'll win 2 of the last home games, lose to Arkansas on the road, get into the SEC tournament at 9-9, and be a seed anywhere from 8 or 9 in the NCAA dance, and probably win 1 game, and then I don't see him going much further unless some things change, Mike.
I want to talk about my dear friend Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial. Of course, Tony is a big part of our show each and every week. If you're thinking of buying a new home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, Let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is absolutely unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. And not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And tell her you heard about her from TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And like I said the last couple of weeks, with inflation, what the Fed might do, now is the time to absolutely give her a call and get dialed in. And by the way, it's not just if you're in Louisiana. She's got her mortgage license in multiple surrounding states. Give her a call. Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, she can absolutely take care of you. So give her a call.
You gotta love that smile on Tony. You know, she's a beautiful, classy lady, knows about attention to detail, and I think you see that smile, Mike, because she enjoys people, she enjoys what she does, and very heavily involved with making a lot of people happy. So go see Tony. I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
LSU up 56-45 with 3:24 left in the game. Thanks, Tracy Howell, for that score update. And so good. So baseball team goes up to Louisiana Tech. Temperatures in the mid-30s, rain coming down, artificial turf. I know Coach Johnson liked the fact that they fought to get back in it, but then Tech was not going to be denied. Talked to a baseball guy last night. He said, you know what, first of all, when we knew that, why it was going to be a good game, because Tech is a very good baseball team. They got their program going, nice little stadium. Our buddy Kenny Kenny Haynes was up there. He really had some nice things to say about Louisiana Tech's new park. But, you know, one of the things is that was circled on their schedule, the conditions, and I think the average age of a Tech baseball player is like 22. I mean, they are an older, senior-laden team, whereas I think LSU is probably about 19 average age. You know, so that's a little bit of a difference, but we'll see what happens when Tech comes back in Baton Rouge later in the year.
You know, you got to first of all give their coaches and their players a lot of credit. They wanted that game, and you know when you get ahead in ball games, you don't feel 36 degrees, but man, when you're down 5-0. It's pretty brutal out there. Now you got a guy, Riley Cooper, who's coming over from Arizona, a lefty, 6'2", 265. I'm not that heavy, but a guy said today, yeah, you and Riley look like you've been going to the same pizza joint there, bud, man. No problem. But a guy from Arizona, his first start at LSU.
When he went to go cover first base, Trey Morgan said, "Nah, man, I don't think you're gonna make it."
But it's 36 degrees, and I hope that LSU doesn't play in those temperatures again. Look, it sounds like excuses, but this, and I had Todd Walker on today, and this is years ago. Skip Burpin's on the radio. Guy calls in. He's pissed off. They've lost a midweek game to USL. That's what they were called at the time. You call them whatever you want now.
Was that me calling in?
No. Skip says, yeah, I understand your concern here, but look, you remember this? If we go to Omaha and win the championship? Oh, no, Coach. Is that more important to win last night than in Omaha? No, Coach. All right, talk at you later. The game, as far as what it meant for an L, a loss, is irrelevant. There are teaching lessons that Jake Johnson can use moving forward. And it was their night. You could play that game 10 times in a row, and La Tech's going to beat them 10 times in a row from last night's karma and energy and what happened. So it's irrelevant. Dylan Cruz is going to hit a couple home runs at least this weekend. They're going to get back. and then they'll have UNO next Wednesday night, and then they go play in the Shriners Classic. That's when you'll get a better chance. But it's a bump in the road, irrelevant to what's going to happen. There's so many baseball games. As long as you get your act together by the start of the SEC, and that's going to take 15 or so games, Mike, because of so many different talented players they have this year.
Blaine Smith, Combine is around the corner. Stingley has slipped a little. Expect him to crush the Combine and be a top 5 pick. Yeah, I saw, what did I see the other day? He was somewhere in the middle teens.
14.
Yeah, I'm not buying that at all.
No, I think that, first of all, you know that Derek Stingley is going to run under 4.4 at the LSU LSU facility. Oh, by the way, March 24th, 4 weeks from today, Mike, we are out, I hope we're out at the Ponderosa. Start of spring football 4 weeks from today. And then spring game's April 23rd. I want to say the pro day is April the 6th. And that's where Stingley, he'll go to the Combine, but they always run faster at LSU. Now, if he runs 4.37 at the Combine, he won't.
Well, no, usually they'll run slower. Like I remember, was it Nick Brissett?
Yeah.
Ran real well at the Combine, and then he came and ran again. I'm like, man, no, you should have booked.
Yeah. Well,
you
no,
stood
if he runs under 4.4, he won't run again. But my point is that I think there's only one question about Derek Stingley, and how much does he want to tackle? Look, Deion Sanders made a living of being a guy that avoided a lot of contact, but was still one of the greatest cornerbacks in the country and in the world and in the NFL. So Stingley, we saw 6 INTs, freshman All-American, didn't really have much the last 2 years. I think when people see him, I
think when he tests,
he's going to be. I think
when he tests and they see him, their eyeballs.
The lowest he would be for me would be 7 or 8.
Yeah.
He's definitely going in the top 10.
Chad Michael, he's injury prone and disappears in large parts of games. Plays hard, very, very intermittently. One good season, and smoked against Alabama both times. I'd be surprised if he goes in the top 20.
Okay, who's that?
Chad Michael's down on Sting.
Chad. Well, listen, I will say this. What he did say there was something that happened. Now, the first time, your boy, and you told me about this kid, I'll never forget when this guy ended up winning the Heisman Trophy for Alabama, and I said, Mike, how much did he weigh? Even Kirby talked about that receiver who, of course, signed with Alabama and won the Heisman, and did burn, let's be honest, he did burn Stingley, but the first year in the game in 19, if you remember, there were some problems with the sidelines getting the plays in, and the second touchdown he gave up, Coach Aranda played press man-to-man and threw an 85-yarder. Of course, the second one in Tiger Stadium now, your boy did embarrass Stingley, but that's what cornerbacks do. The guy had 6 INTs. He was a freshman All-American. Can you get that guy to play in the NFL? Now, I agree with the caller. I mean, the listener and the point. The last 2 years.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of LSU players that the last 2 years didn't do them any favors.
And the culture is, look, if it's going to hell in a handbasket, you know what the mentality was, including from his daddy. Why are we going to risk this man's future on an 11-11 2-year term with the Tigers? I hate to spell it out like that, but that's the way it evolved.
Brian Madeir says LSU starting pitcher last night needs to stay away from Buddy and Mike's favorite pastry shop.
Oh, I don't want to say too much about Brian.
I'm the one that likes sugar. He won't eat it.
Brian.
But
last week he was calling for the Gran Torino's head on a plate.
Man, I'm telling you, man, I'm amazed by that. I'm getting messages from people upset about LSU softball right now. I'm like, man, but look, I think people are seeing, they're excited about Jay Johnson, they're excited about Mulkey, and then I think that's putting pressure on the other coaches. I think in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I can't post a Will Wade video to YouTube without someone typing in "Fire Will Wade," and they're LSU fans.
Well, I was going to say this for both of us. Of course, I shouldn't speak.
A couple of them are idiots. I've looked them up, but still.
I'd rather be fat and happy than skinny and sad. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You love the sugar.
No, I've been eating king cakes for 3 weeks, and I'm the heaviest. Believe me,
I will be 10 down by the time we do spring football. You got it?
Yeah, there ain't a king cake I haven't tried in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
You are the king.
Yeah. Guys, do me a favor. Like I say each and every week, hit the like and share button. If you're watching us on YouTube, which is I believe the best experience, we're streaming live to Facebook and YouTube each week. But hit the subscription button and the notification bell. And if you're watching us on Facebook, hit the like button, please, and share it and do all that. Very much appreciated. Helps us with the algorithm. And we appreciate all of you helping us grow our channel here at TigerBait.com. Also, go to the site and subscribe. Got a lot coming your way on TigerBait.com. Our message board has grown. We got a lot of great commenters on our Tiger Den Premium message board. We really want to have you as a premium subscriber. Go to TigerBait.com. Try us. You can get on there for $1 for 1 week, by the way. Try us out for a week, $1. And if you like it, like I said, always choose the annual package. You save there versus going monthly. You essentially get 3 months free when you choose the annual subscription to TigerBait. And if you're an LSU fan, I think you'll love what we have to offer. You get our newsletters, our text alerts for breaking news, and I think we're going to be having some breaking news, a good bit of it here in the coming month or so. So I think the class of 23 is going to start getting uncorked.
Yeah, and I know there's been a lot of bulletin board material about Tackett Curtis and his teammate coming in. And, you know, this is the other thing that is kind of an interesting dynamic to follow, and that is when you go in and you start dealing with some of these recruits and moving forward, how much damage is done and how easy is it to repair those relationships. And I remember last year we were talking about Tackett, and his coach wasn't happy, and he wasn't happy, and he wasn't going to visit and all that. This is where, when you start to see the way things are being done at LSU and Baton Rouge, and it starts, of course, as you alluded to, March 5th, next Saturday, I think this is going to sell a lot of people. And that's what really, it kind of just hit me the last day or two. You look at the LSU coaches that have the Louisiana ties. You look at some of these players. Mike, if they can just get back and restore and get, look, that was ridiculous. And I know what our guy said, but to come in here and get 3 wide receivers, now, are they all going to flourish at Alabama? No, because they're going to get caught up in the numbers. But I don't think you're going to see those days of anybody coming in here and taking that kind of talent moving forward.
Tracy Watson-Howard, final LSU 58-50 over Alabama. Please, Tracy or Bart Smokey, y'all both put the score up. Did they happen to give an Alexis Morris update? Right before we went live, I saw her go down what looked like an ankle. Let me know if there was any update on her. Please pass that along if you don't mind.
She did tell Jacques Doucet this week she will be back again next year for
6
another year. And also, LSU women's basketball won 9 games last year. And right now they are 24-4, and this has just been phenomenal. You made a good point about the Florida young lady who's had a hell of a year, and maybe Kim Mulkey.
Kim Mulkey's trying to help her get that job. I mean, Florida, they'd be silly if they wouldn't.
Yeah. But look, she's not worried about that. She's just trying to. And when you start getting the best Louisiana women players that have previously been going to Baylor and other places, this is going to be fun. Now, I got the Tiger fans going on a nice little ride here moving forward. Gymnastics is back. Softball, a little bump in the road. Obviously, beach volleyball debuting. I mean, I
would love to see LSU face South Carolina again in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, that was the one game this year I watched every.
I think at a minimum LSU is Sweet 16.
Yeah, but my point is that a lot of the programs are going and ascending, and it's going to be a fun ride for these guys and girls. That, let's be honest, Mike, nobody has enjoyed the last couple of years. Not only with the pandemic and losing loved ones, as well as I saw when on my phone we had a year anniversary of Barry and Dan Nola, and you know that hits hard for all those ones that have lost loved ones. So this is how we cope with those kind of moments. We get into sports and kind of get away from all the craziness that you see at the beginning of the news. Mm-hmm. And this is fun to talk about.
Yeah, now we got Ukraine to worry about.
You know what? I'm just saying it's fun, though, when you got good stuff to talk about versus the negativity along with the pandemic.
Kenny Haynes, Mike, I'm late to the show. Did you talk about what a trooper I was going to Ruston in the rain last night? Yeah, I did. Kenny braved it and was one of the lucky people to get a ticket, thanks to Bart Smokey, who's also in the chat. And, I wish the weather would have been good last night, but Kenny, I talked to him earlier today. He really liked that their new facility, their new stadium, and that was one of the deals last year where we were thinking that there was a chance that LSU might get sent to that regional, and I thought that would have been awesome had they done that. But good for Louisiana Tech, like you said early in the show, and they've got a real good baseball program. They build it up, and I love throwing a few elbows at my Raging Cajun buddies back in Lafayette. He said, I reached out to one of them yesterday. I said, you gonna be watching tonight? Is LSU now faces the second best baseball program in the state? Because for the longest time, ULL thought it was them, and now look what Louisiana Tech's been doing now for the last several years. So,
well, look, not to take away anything from Louisiana Tech, it was their night. But as I said, moving forward, this will be a teaching point for Jay Johnson. Look, he's never been there before. This is the same thing we talk about. Kim Mulkey's going to places that all this SEC grind. Same thing with Coach Kelly this fall. The same thing with Jay Johnson. You all are learning at the same time. LSU baseball's a young team. They're going to be fine. And, oh, by the way, Tiger Shark, I know people appreciate you and your love for sponsoring baseball interviews as well as doing some NIL deals with some of those players, and they are class act. And Jacob Berry, I did verify with Todd Walker. The big problem they're having with him is that Mike, he's going to be old enough to leave after this year. Of course, he's a first-team All-American as a freshman last year at Arizona. But they've got to find a position for him. And last night he had an error or two. They could have had 7 or 8 errors. I think they were listed with 5. But Berry didn't look like he was that acclimated to that park and in right field, and so you got to figure out if you can play him at third base or right field, because if you don't, you DH him like you did last year, it hurts his market value. So they got to figure that out. But bottom line is that this team is loaded, and when the weather gets bad, I don't know about you, and I admire Tiger Shark and everybody that went, but you couldn't have given me a free ticket. When I heard it was 36, I'm going like, I'll watch it on YouTube.
Blaine Smith, we need linebackers big time in the next couple of classes. Give me some of the top linebackers in the 23 class. Well, obviously, Jay Nosberry right here in Baton Rouge at U High. Tackett Curtis, who we mentioned earlier from Manny. And I think there's going to be some others. I think, first of all, there's a lot of kids. That's one thing we're going to see come shake out here. I think a good many, the majority of the Louisiana kids that received offers from the previous staff will get some sort of reoffer, and that'll be a one-on-one basis deal. There might be a few, though, that need to come to camp and get reevaluated in the spring evaluation period, and I can probably figure out easily who those might be. But I do think the June camp, spring evaluation period, and this staff is really going to be beating the bushes to uncover some Louisiana kids that we haven't been talking about. There's going to be some kids from some high schools that in North Louisiana. That's why the camps, particularly this first year of this new era at LSU, is going to be vitally important, because it sets the stage relationship-wise. You're going to want a bunch of 8th grade, 9th grade campers, and then start building those relationships and watching how kids develop over a multi-year period. And of course, the spring evaluation period, the LSU staff's going to be out in full force.
Matt House, the DC, will be coaching linebackers. I think that is going to be a great
We haven't even
thing.
talked about him. He was awesome yesterday.
But look, that is going to be something you sell. This guy was with the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. And oh, by the way, there's been some scuttlebutt between some folks that are always trying to figure out what Brian Kelly's going to do or not do. But one of the things that Coach House said is, man, I've been a lot of places. I've had a lot of former players, but nobody loves their school like the former players, and of course Darrell Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Tyrann Mathieu, and others. And so it's going to be interesting to see the interaction with all the former players and how long it will take Brian Kelly to get on the same page with the former players. I can guarantee you, if the Honey Badger wants to come visit Matt House in the summertime, they're going to have a lot of stories. And those guys are also going to help to recruit for LSU. So linebackers, we don't know the names besides Baskerville and Penn and others, but I have no problem with that position with Matt House as the coach there.
Kenny Haynes with the super chat, big thanks, and of course he thanks Smokey for lining up for him to get some tickets for that game in Ruston last night. Andy Whitaker, I saw Besh was donating NIL earnings to local charities for children. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Did you see that? But that
I
sounds like
did,
him. He's a
and-
great guy from a great family.
We just had a Super Bowl, and it really broke the hearts of all of the new Bengal fans and all of the LSU Nation that gravitated to Cincinnati because of Joe and Jamar Chase and Tyler Shelvin and Thaddeus Moss. But lo and behold, Mike, I lost my train of thought here as I'm multitasking on this Thursday night. I just think that when
About Besh and the donating NIL money.
Cooper Kupp is the guy I want Jack Besh to evolve into. Now, the magnitude of saying that, he just had the trifecta, Mike. He had the most receptions, the most yards, and the most touchdowns. It's unheard of in the NFL. But Jack Besh, if he could grow into a Cooper Kupp, that's the guy I want to see LSU develop. Even though Cincinnati knew he was getting the ball, they couldn't stop him. And this goes to the class, integrity, and the character of Jack Besh to give some of that NIL money to underprivileged kids. It says the whole world. That's why St. Thomas More was so special with him and Walker. That's why LSU, moving forward, is going to have the culture. And seriously, money doesn't mean anything.
Well, I can't wait to see Jack fully at wide receiver
great story,
and not have to worry about tight
great
end.
story.
But it's the Dreams Come True Foundation.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Andy. Much appreciated. All right, guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. We went well over an hour. And go to TigerBait, subscribe. Go check us out. Much appreciative to all of you tuning in tonight. Like, share, and all the rest. We'll be back here next week. And be looking for all the stories that I've got coming on TigerBait.com. And thanks for tuning in. Good night.